What's good, YouTube? This is your boy Akil McLeod back with another video. Haven't gone live in a while, so I just wanted to hop on here real quick with you guys, do a quick video, and hopefully with you guys, if you have any questions, I'll try to answer that as soon as possible. But today, I really just wanted to jump in and, like I said, talk about which platforms are out there and which ones are my favorite to sell on. And as you guys know, I'm a full-time reseller. I've been doing this going on 3, and I've only been selling on eBay and Poshmark primarily. I've done very few sales, like local sales on Craigslist and Facebook, very few sales on Amazon, but the majority of my sales have come from eBay and Poshmark. So it's kind of like a debate. Just trying to see where a lot of other people's thoughts and opinions are, because for me, just to get straight to the point, the question is, what's your favorite platform to sell on? And for me, it has been and probably will always be eBay, at least for now. eBay has just been really good, and they've been making a ton of improvements. That's also another reason why I really do like right now. And even though I put out a ton of Poshmark content, I've said this to you guys several times in the past. When it comes to Poshmark, I treat it more of like a side hustle, because once you do the work for eBay, the work for Poshmark is very simple. It's a quick, just drag and drop process. So for me, eBay is definitely my favorite. So I'm gonna just check in with you guys, see who's in the chat. We got a people in here. What's up, everybody? Everybody in here is doing good. I hope y'all enjoying y'all weekend. We got a few people in here, so hit the like button. It definitely helps the channel grow, and just lets more people know that we are live right now. So like I said, if you have questions, if you want to, drop a comment, let me know. But first off, the number one reason why, for me, why eBay has been my favorite platform is because their customer service has greatly improved. Now, at first, eBay's customer service was terrible. If you had a problem, chances are you would have to call. You might send the email, but chances are if you call, you would sit on the phone for 20, 30, 40 minutes and wait a very long time before you even get somebody. Then when you finally do get somebody, they'll give you the runaround, and you'll just be pissed off because you wasted your time. But nowadays, especially for me, I'm not exactly sure if it's because I'm a top-rated seller or because I've been selling on that platform for a while. Drop a comment if it's different for you all. But for me, when I call, especially if it's a call about a return, I get an answer almost immediately. Now, that could just be because the return service has a lot more people involved. But for me, anytime I call about a return, which is usually the only times I do call, that's usually when I get a response within at least 5 minutes. I never hold for too long. And to me, that's super important, because when you're a seller, and you're especially from a seller's perspective, at first it always used to seem as if buyers would only side with eBay, would only side with the buyer. It didn't seem as if there was any real justice per se. It would only just be on the sellers, on the buyers, and it didn't matter what they did, they would always win the case. But now I'm starting to see that, at least for me, anytime there's any problems happening, if I make a call, if I say, hey, this person damaged the item and they tried to return it, or if I shipped out an item brand new with tags and the tags are no longer on there, and I give them a partial refund, eBay's always on my side. So drop a comment, let me know what you're thinking about that so far, because for me, eBay is definitely coming through. So let's see who's in the chat. Got a few people saying what's up. What's going on, everybody? My man Joseph Cook says eBay, Poshmark, and Depop. Mario Domes, eBay all day, can't stay, just saying what's up and hitting the like button. I appreciate you, my brother. I appreciate it. Kia Bath and Body says eBay. Keenan Signing, my man that's on Patreon. Poshmark, as a former autograph/memorabilia seller, it is a blessing to get shipping labels straight to your email. Very cool. Yeah, that is a good plus there. eBay answers quickly always for me. Mercari, for me, it was my first platform and I love it. I still never sold anything on Mercari yet, so I can't even speak there. But it says to me it is between eBay and Poshmark. eBay, but Mercari is my sleeper platform, which I'm starting to really sell a lot. Okay, so it seems like a lot of people are starting to do well on Mercari. People are starting to work towards getting better at that platform. Sales are coming up. So I always say I might give it a shot, but I still haven't tried it. I've made purchases on Mercari because I've bought stuff from Mercari to sell on eBay, and I bought stuff on Mercari just for myself. But anywhere where I can find a really good deal, that's where I'm usually going. But one day I probably will do a video and try out Mercari. But those of you that agree, I appreciate y'all, because at least for me, like I said, eBay answers my questions. They resolve stuff really quickly. I'll give you guys an example. I just had I sold an item for $150, right? And it was like a facial, like a trimmer type of thing, something to like help with skin or aging, something like that. Not really sure. I found it for a couple bucks and it sold for a ton of money. So I sold it. Basically the buyer, they opened up the package, they tried it out, they said they didn't like it, and they wanted to return it. Now, when something like this happens, now I can no longer sell the item brand new. And of course, you can't sell it for the same price point anymore. And used items for that same thing was selling for about $80. So what I did was basically just deduct that value from what basically deducted the original value to what it would sell for used. And I had some back and forth with eBay, but at the end of the day, eBay sided with me and said, well, you're right, because you did have that option of offering a partial refund, and that's what I did. But the other good thing, what I really did like, was the fact that if I was the seller, if I was the buyer, I probably would have been pissed, right? But eBay did a really good thing, and they let me keep the money, but they also gave the money back to the buyer as well. So that was pretty cool. I mean, sometimes there's a ton of times where people, I've heard the term rent clothing on eBay, where somebody would buy something from you and then return it within 30 days. I've heard of that. That's never happened to me, thankfully. But for this situation, I do like the fact that eBay covered me, but they also covered the buyer as well. So there was no losers. Everybody won. Nobody could have been upset with that situation. So that was a really good thing for me. And that's what really made me really appreciate eBay even more, because with Poshmark, not to say Poshmark's customer service isn't good, they just don't have a number that you can call. So you have to send an email, and you basically just have to wait until you get a response. And sometimes I know for a lot of people, you might not be able to articulate, your exact thoughts and feelings and a description via email. Sometimes it's better to speak on over the phone with somebody, especially if somebody's not that great with technology. You might just want to call and you don't want to send the email. So that's one thing I think Poshmark has to work on. Poshmark is still new, so I'm sure it's in the works, but that's definitely one thing why I said eBay for me is really becoming my favorite. Let's see, you got a couple people said offer up on here. Jeremy Davies, his order is Poshmark, offer up and Amazon. Okay, that's not a bad little mix right there, because the thing with Poshmark is super easy. For those that sell items that may be kind of heavier and you might have to spend a ton of money on shipping, and you might not like eBay's listing system, Poshmark is the way to go. The only downside is that Poshmark takes a pretty hefty fee of 20%. So for me, that is a deterrent, but at the same time, I still like eBay. I still like Poshmark a lot. Now, I'm just checking my notes real quick. The next thing that I really do love about Poshmark, and that I love about eBay, but Poshmark is going to start growing in this direction as well. At least that's what they said when I went to PoshFest last year. The customer base is huge on Poshmark. The customer base is huge on eBay. If you can sell internationally, you can sell internationally on your own, or you can ship it via the global shipping program, which kind of makes it a little easier for you to ship items internationally. So just with that being said, sometimes you might find an item that's really rare, really unique, and if you put it up on Poshmark, the right eyes might not see it. If you put it up on Amazon, you might not even be able to list it. Same thing for Mercari. But with eBay, you can list just about any and everything, and at the same time, you can ship it, to France if need be. You can ship it to Asia if need be, and that's really dope to me, because sometimes I do sell kind of rare and unique kind of vintage items. A couple days ago, I picked up about 100 vintage cameras, a ton of Canons, a ton of Fujifilm, like a bunch of different old school cameras. And some of those I'm pretty sure will eventually sell via the global shipping program. It might go to Europe, it might go to Japan or somewhere in Asia, because usually a lot of those vintage film cameras, people over there, they collect them, they're still using them. They really appreciate those type of stuff. So for me, that's why I really do like eBay. But like I said, the customer base is really huge on eBay. Most people still don't know about Poshmark. That's the problem. Most people aren't familiar with it. If I'm talking to somebody randomly on, in a store or something, and they ask me if I'm a reseller, and I tell them, yeah, I sell on eBay and on Poshmark. They know about eBay, but Poshmark is still like that question mark. So Poshmark is doing well with their ads and stuff like that. They're getting the words out. Their marketing seems to be pretty strong, but it's still new and people are still more familiar with eBay. So for me, that's why I'm still using it. So let's check out the chat, see what people are talking about here. Fave is Macari. I had no luck on Poshmark. Poshmark be taxing. Yeah, that 20% is definitely something serious. Someone says, I want to try eBay, but too much fees. eBay is too complicated. Yes, eBay is definitely too complicated. In terms of listing, it definitely is complicated. Perfect example, my wife works with me now. She quit her 9 to 5 and now she's working with me with the business. So when it comes to listing on Poshmark, she jumped right in and she handles all the Poshmark stuff now. It was a very, very quick turnaround time for her to kind of understand Poshmark, see how it works. For eBay, not so much. She still helps with eBay stuff in terms of taking pictures and stuff, but it's so many different nuances in terms of eBay and how to list properly that I'm handling that side, she's handling Poshmark. So that just shows you guys how different it is in terms of listing. Let's see. I love Poshmark shipping. Put it in any box, flat rate, etc., and send it. Absolutely, that's one of my favorite things about Poshmark as well. I always tell people, and I always reference shoes because for me, I'm starting to sell a lot of shoes, and even beforehand, I was selling a decent amount of shoes. And sometimes you might come across a pair of boots, and they might be really heavy, sometimes 4 or 5 pounds. And if you're shipping a 4 or 5 pound package from California to New York, you're going to spend an arm and a leg. But the good thing is with Poshmark, it's the same flat rate fee. So that's a really good thing about Poshmark. That's why I'm still selling there. That even though that 20% fee is kind of heavy, the shipping advantages is what keeps me on that platform and what makes me want to continue doing business there. Because, you can sell just about anywhere, but Poshmark kind of separates themselves from others by having that service. Let's see. I love shipping on. How is Poshmark working for you? So far right now, Poshmark is doing, I'm not going to say very, very well, because at one point I was killing it on Poshmark. I was making a ton of sales videos. I was doing a lot of content about Poshmark. I'm still doing some decent sales. I'm still selling stuff on Poshmark that I wouldn't have thought would have sold. For instance, I usually sell a lot of my higher end shoes on eBay. And I'm still listing some of them on Poshmark because you really never know. And sometimes some of those things that I'm listing for $129, $139, they're selling on Poshmark. So that's why I still list it on both platforms, because you really never know. And even though that fee of 20% is pretty big, for me, I'd rather, pay 20% of something as opposed to just never having that item sell or it's sitting for a very long time. Because for me, it's all about getting products in, and seeing somewhat of a quick turnaround. I don't always pick up items that sell really, really fast, but I like to have a mixture of items that would, some would sit for a while and it's big profits, and then some would sell really, really fast and the profit isn't that much. But for me, it's still worth it because it's that steady cash flow that every business needs to keep going. Let's see. Definitely Macari. I also like the Nextdoor app for selling locally. Poshmark is full of other sellers just liking and sharing your items all day. Very true, very true. I don't necessarily care for the liking and the sharing and all that, but that's what Poshmark is doing to try to make their stuff more different. Losing my butt on reselling. Bought 4 shirts today, got home, realized 2 of them are damaged. That's a really good point, because that's one thing that I'm not going to say I stopped selling clothing, but I stopped putting so much energy into selling clothing, because I would go to the thrift and I would spend, an hour, sometimes an hour and a half, and I would go 2 and sometimes 3 times a day, because the Goodwills in California were really, really good. So I would constantly go and I would find a ton of stuff. The downside to that is that sometimes I would even do a live video, and during my live video and I'm sharing what I found, while I'm showing guys what I found, I would see a hole in the back or I would see a little stain. and then I gotta throw it in the wash, and it'll sit in that pile of stuff that needs to wash through. Sometimes a few days, sometimes a few weeks before I actually get to it. Nowadays, when I'm bringing home shoes, even if it's a used shoe, as soon as I get it, I clean it up. If I need to throw it in the washing machine, it goes in the washing machine right away, and I'm getting it out the door, or at least it's prepped and ready to go. With clothing, I just found myself dealing with a huge death pile, and I just had too much inventory, and it wasn't moving fast enough, and that's what kind of deterred me from doing clothing. Not only that, since I moved from California to Arizona, the thrift stores out here are too expensive. So a shirt that I would spend $250 on in California is now $7-8 here, and the profit just wouldn't be there for me to continue doing that. But I just wanted to get that off real quick. Let's see. I hate that people on Poshmark just like the items that they have no intentions on buying. They think it's Instagram or Facebook, and it's annoying. Absolutely. That's common. That we all have to deal with that. Poshmark is number one. I've been on eBay for a bit, and Mercari is dead. Still trying to figure out those platforms. Just the fees are too much on Posh. Well, some people are saying Mercari is really doing well for them. Some saying Mercari is dead. At the end of the day, I always say it's important to know learn the platforms as best as you can, because some items sell better on different platforms. Some buyers have different tendencies on different platforms. So if you're a clothing seller, you might want to stick to selling, on Poshmark, because that's where the clothing buyers are. But if you're selling home goods and other type of stuff, even though Poshmark has that home market now, I don't think it's big enough yet. So sometimes you might have to still sell on eBay and other platforms. But that's just something I wanted to throw out there, because for everybody it's different. Every platform is different. Every platform has its pros and cons. It just depends what you're selling and how you're pricing it too. Because some stuff, I've checked out other people's closets, and some stuff they're selling might sell better on eBay or better on Poshmark, and vice versa. But because they're pricing it as if it was that other platform, it just makes it hard for them to move. Let's see. Y'all really got a business out here, and I love it. Yeah, man. When it comes down to it, this is the full time for my wife and myself. And with her working with me now, it's just easier for us to do way more. And when by us doing more during the week, well, by us like hitting up different stores and listing really fast, now we're able to take vacations, longer vacations. We can do 3 and 4 and 5 day vacations now, instead of just a quick weekend when she was working in her 9 to 5. So that's really the blessing. That's what really gets me excited with this whole reselling stuff, because it's one of the few things that you can do. You can really hustle for, say, a month and then take a week off and then get right back to it as if nothing happened. So for me, that's why I really do love the whole reselling game. Now let's see. This is true. I'm a clothing seller, but I cross list everything to all platforms, as you should. You definitely should. Just try to get your items in front of the most potential buyers possible. That's what I always tell people. I wouldn't stretch it too thin to where I'm selling on 5 and 6 different platforms, because then it could get complicated. You can start making mistakes, and you just want to try to limit your mistakes. You don't want to sell an item on eBay and then it sells on Poshmark a minute later, and because you didn't get a chance to take it off, now you're in trouble. That type of stuff happens, but you can make more mistakes when you list on more platforms. Let's see. I made, let's see. Let me go up, because I don't want to bypass any questions or anything like that. Someone says Poshmark is better for designer things. I don't care about fees if I'm buying for $1 and getting 25 per item. I'm glad Salvation Army changed the pricing to $1 days every week. Yeah, I haven't had too much luck doing the $1 days at Salvation Army, but if I can get some good deals, I'll definitely check it out. Let's see. How many times a day do you share your closet on Poshmark? I share the closet. I share 3 times. Dom sometimes 3 or 4 times. So between the both of us, we share it at least 6 times a day now. It used to be just 3 times when I was just doing it by myself, but now that she's working with me, we're just knocking it out. And the good thing is our closet is not that big. It might look big because it's a ton of sold listings. But in terms of active listings, I think we got like 250 on there right now. Let's see, what kind of merchandise sells on Mercari? I see a lot of clothing, shoes, a lot of everything sells on Mercari, but I mean, I don't sell on that platform, so I'm not the person to really speak on that. Do you have a price limit of what you list on eBay compared to Poshmark? A price limit? Not really sure what you mean in terms of a price limit. If you can clarify what you mean by that one, Shelly B. I live in Phoenix, and yes, the clothing is more expensive. Absolutely, it's ridiculous. I don't even go to Goodwill or Savers anymore. I just walk right by them. I don't even waste my time. I list daily on all my platforms. Just like all platforms, you have to feed the beast. Feed them daily. Absolutely. Really like watching and learning from your videos. It's my dream to have my wife work full time with me also in the future. Cool to see you are here in Arizona now. Maybe I will see you at the thrift. Yeah, man. Just if you do see me, just say something. I know sometimes I'm in these different thrift stores. I'm in different stores and I'm walking around and I get those weird looks. And I don't know if somebody recognizes me or if they're just looking at me weird. So if you see me say something, I'm the same way online as the same way in person. So say what's up. I had a dress on Poshmark for months. I put it on Mercari and sold in 2 days. That's what's up. Somebody was probably looking for that dress. Renee Martinez, love the new hair. Thank you very much. Let's see. What is your golden rule on selling on any platform? I hear you should always shoot for at least 40%. I don't necessarily have a golden rule. For me, it's all about, I don't even see like 40% profit or 50%, or some people say they need to make a certain number. I base it more on how easy is it going to be for me to take photos of, and I base it on the comp. So if I see a ton of sales like in one particular item, and for instance, there's a lot of shoes right now, especially if you do a lot of Ross shopping. There's a lot of shoes you might come across in Ross, right? And you will see 50 available listings, and then you'll see like 150 sold listings. So that means this item is flying off the shelf as soon as it's getting listed. So for me, even if it might be 20 or 25 bucks and I'm seeing that it sells really fast, I'm going to take a chance on that item. Even if I spend 60 bucks and only make 20, I'm happy with that, because it's a quick turnaround, it's quick profit, and that what works for me. But for some people, everybody has their different opinions or their different rules. And I think that's what's dope about reselling in general, because you can make your own rules. You can treat it however you want. There's no right or wrong way to do it. For me, I just like to buy stuff that there's a mixture. There has to be stuff that sells fast, and there has to be stuff that's going to sit for a while, but there's going to bring in some good profit. You got to do it that way. I think every retail store kind of does it that way. But like I said, there's no right or wrong way. Here in Phoenix, you got to work those half off days, bins, etc., to make the thrifts work. Agree, prices are getting steep. Absolutely, man. Today was the 50% off day in Goodwill, and I didn't even go. I probably should have gone. I probably played myself by not going, but I also hit up Burlington. I hit up Ross. I hit up Marshalls, and I found some good stuff there. So, like I said, it just kills my mood going into those different thrift stores, seeing huge prices, and knowing that they got it for free. It just annoys me. So I don't even want to go in there and get frustrated. So I don't even waste my time. And someone says, I'm so jealous of your Ross finds. The Ross stores near me are terrible. You find the best shoes. Do you ever give your subscribers a discount? Yeah, I'll give subscribers a discount. I do that all the time. Like if somebody sends me a message and says, hey, I watch your videos, can I get a discount? I'll sell it to you for sure. But I just don't want people to think because I bought it for 60, I'm going to sell it for 60. That doesn't make sense. I'm not making any money that way. But I always give discounts to subscribers. That's not a problem. Let's see. Have you considered offering your followers the service of a closet or eBay store review, aka a critique? Yeah, I do that. I do those on Patreon. I do those like closet reviews. Some people would just want me to check it out, give them some advice, and I do those on Poshmark. On Patreon. So the link should be in the description. Have you seen a drop in your sales with the new virus concerns? No, I actually seen a huge jump in sales. Like February was the new record. My biggest month so far was 12,000 in sales, gross sales. February we did close to 16, like 15.5 in sales. And honestly, I think that's because tax season. I think a lot of people have been getting their tax refunds. They're buying stuff, trying to be fly. And I'm selling a lot of brand new items now. So when I sell an item, it's no longer like, buy for 2, sell for 30. Now I'm like buying stuff for 60 and selling for 100 plus. So my sales just look a lot bigger than they used to be. But also, like I said, when you're selling brand new items, you can make a little more profit. You can ask for some more money. And I've been selling a ton of new stuff. So I remember last year, February, I did really good in February too. February and March were really good for me. And I think that was because of those like tax refunds. We'll see if March continues in that same trend. So far, we're in a week in March and sales have been pretty good. I had a few really good days. I had some slow days as well. But we'll see. I just think right now it's just like I said, those tax refunds. People are shopping, people are getting ready for spring. So a lot of stuff are starting to move. What are your thoughts on Lacrosse brand shoes? And I picked up a pair of Nike Air Jordans. What is your thoughts on this shoe? Lacrosse shoes. I don't know if you're saying lacrosse or Lacoste. If it's Lacoste, like the little alligator, I don't pick those up. If it's actual lacrosse, like the sport, I haven't sold any of those either. You also said you picked up a pair of Air Jordan double stack made in '07. I'd have to see it. I wouldn't even know what shoe that is. I definitely have to see it. When you're shopping the outlets, Nike, UGG, do you shop the kids section and convert them to adult sizes? No, lately UGG was only in California, so I haven't been to the UGG outlet since we moved. But in terms of the kids section and stuff like that, if I'm finding kid shoes in like a 6Y, I definitely convert them, especially if it's like some Air Max. I find a lot of kids Air Max in Ross, Marshalls, places like that, and I would convert them to the women's sizes. But I'd still list it in the kid section, but in the description or even in the title, I might also put the conversion size for women, just so that it would help with the keywords, and that if a woman was searching, she might hopefully find it because I put it in the description and the keywords. How do you know what price to put on certain items? Excuse me. When it comes down to putting stuff on pricing items, I always just check the comps. So if it's an eBay item, I usually get all my prices from eBay. Sometimes I might check Poshmark, but usually I'm always checking eBay, and I'm just checking the sold. So if you're not familiar how to check the sold, as soon as you go on eBay, especially if you're using the app, you just want to go to the filters and make sure that completed and sold listings are both checked. And once you check both of those, you'll be able to see what your same item has sold for in the past. Sometimes I use StockX as well, but very, very rarely. Let's see. Thanks for the luck. Akil. My phone just went ka-ching. Just sold a pair of women's Adidas on eBay, and I'm going to package it now. Congrats on the sale. That's what's up. I recently became a top-rated seller on eBay, and I have seen more send offers and watchers. I don't even use that feature. I think I've used it one time, and the one time I used it, I think it worked. Maybe I used it twice, and the first time it actually did work, and the second time it didn't, so I just stopped using it. The problem with that feature is that sometimes I'll have a listing and I'll have 19 watchers, and then I'll try that send offers to watchers, and it'll only send maybe 6 offers to people. So I don't know if it's the eBay system that's messed up, or if it's not going out to everybody. But I don't know if they even fixed that yet. But for me, that was what I was experiencing, and I just stopped using it. Every time I see a new upload, I yell out, "It's my boy Akil McLeod." That's what's up. Let's see. I got a pair of Kobe Protro 1s Mamba Day at Ross yesterday. That's what's up. Protro 1s. Wow. That's what's up. Let's see. How much do you give credit to YouTube for helping with your sales? Love your videos, man. Honestly, if I had to put a number on it, and thanks for the support, by the way, I appreciate it. I don't think YouTube really does help my sales. If it did, I wouldn't really even be able to know how, because people don't necessarily message me and say, oh, I love your videos, or I watch your videos, I'm a subscriber. I just make sales from all over the place, all over the country. Stuff really goes for me, especially on eBay. I'm shipping stuff all over. So I'm not necessarily sure if it helps. And also my channel isn't that big. So if I was to say I'm making a ton of sales from YouTube, I would definitely be playing myself, because the channel isn't that big for me to make a ton of sales. However, one thing that really did help is that I remember I had a bunch of like UGG shoe cleaning kits, and drop a comment if you were one person that purchased them. But I had like maybe 100 or 150, and they were brand new, and I paid $1 for them. And I said, if you're a subscriber, send me an offer for $10, and I'll ship it out to you ASAP. And from the minute I said that on a Poshmark video, the sales skyrocketed. Like I said, I had over 100 of those shoe cleaning kits, and they sold out within like 2 weeks. And I had them listed for so long, and I wasn't getting any traction. And once I said, send me off for $10, they were selling like that. So I'm not gonna discredit the channel and say it doesn't help, but I'm not gonna say the channel, brings in a ton of sales either. I just think a lot of people took advantage of that deal I was given. But I don't know. We'll see. Do you sell a lot of vintage? I wouldn't say a lot of vintage. If anything, a lot of vintage cameras, a lot of vintage electronics, those type of stuff, kind of hard to come by. So, you can make some good money on it. In terms of vintage clothing, not so much. I tried to get into it, but it's just not my thing, and I don't find it as often. I know when it comes to t-shirts, I know what to look for. I know the different type of stuff to look for, but I just don't find enough of it to sell a lot. Do you do promoted listings? Absolutely. Mo Breezy in the building. Was good, bro. Someone says, do you do promoted listings? Promoted listings, I do 1%. 1% promoted listings, just about everything. I don't promote everything because some things, some items I have doesn't have that much competition. So if it's not a category, or if it's not a listing that has a ton of other items, that say it's a shoe and 50 other people are selling my shoe, I might promote it with that situation. But if I'm the only person with that shoe in that one size, a size 12, and I'm the only one, I'm not going to promote it, because if somebody's searching for that shoe, I'm the only one to get it for. So there's no need to promote it. So that's how I treat promoted listings. I never do more than 1%, because to me, it doesn't really, it's not a game changer from 1 to 6%. I haven't seen a big difference. So 1% on everything, but I don't necessarily promote everything. What do you recommend? Well, let's keep going. Let's came to show love, bro. I appreciate it, bro. Let's see. What shoe should I look for to resell? Man, that's a loaded question. There's so many shoes to look for. If I had to give just a blanket answer, Jordans, Nikes. You could do some Adidas, but Adidas is tough, because Adidas doesn't sell for that much money, period. So it's kind of tough. But just keep watching a lot of their videos, because I have a ton of older videos where I'm like telling people which shoes I'm picking up, which ones I'm not, and why I'm not picking it up. So just check out some of the older videos. That might help. Let's see. What do you recommend to look for selling things fast? What to look for, or in the thrift? I sell clothing and it seems like it's slow moving. What should I be looking for? In terms of clothing, one thing that really is moving for me, vintage jeans, like vintage Levi's, like vintage Levi 501, 505, 514, like those vintage Levi's. Even if it's a men's size, I know a lot of women are buying those jeans as well, because it's really trendy right now. It's really fashionable. And I'm only saying that because I know for a fact my wife is buying men's jeans, trying them on. If it fits, she's like, okay, I'm gonna just rock out with this. So I know those is a lot of women, they love those like dad style jeans, that kind of faded wash. Those are selling really well. I can't really think of anything that's selling fast, because like I said, in terms of clothing, I'm not doing a lot of clothing anymore. But those jeans is the first thing that came to top of my. If I think of anything else, I'll bring it up. What's your top 5 shoe brands to sell? Top 5. Top 5 is definitely Jordan and Nike. Then Adidas. I do a little bit of Saucony and very little Puma. Very little Puma, but I like Puma. It doesn't sell for much. I don't find it often, but sometimes I might find some Pumas and I'll get it for say 30 and sell it for 70. It's not a ton of profit, but I know I like Pumas. That's why I like to sell it. Let's see. If you had only $100 to your name, what product would you purchase and resell? I'd probably try to find a camera or something probably like a vintage camera and try to flip that. I know it'll take a while, but either that or probably go to the Nike outlet, try to find some shoes from the clearance rack, try to find something cheap there and try to flip that quick. I might not even flip it online if I only had $100. I might do like a local deal, like OfferUp. That way I don't get to that way I won't have to pay for shipping and fees. I might do something like that. Let's see. I just started using Poshmark a few months ago. What are some red flags I should look for before I make a purchase and to avoid getting scammed? Okay, that's a good question. I think a lot of people can benefit from that one. So one of the red flags for me is if it's not enough pictures, I don't trust it. If it's just one picture, if it's just two, and if it's like a very kind of like awkward angle, I don't trust it because they're clearly not trying to show all the angles for a reason. A lot of times if the pictures are kind of blurry, especially when it comes to the size tag, and they intentionally don't want you to see the size tag, that's definitely a red flag, because I always tell people, make sure you're taking photos of the size tag. That way people can at least try to do a legit check online. Sometimes it works. Sometimes, it could be a really good fake and you wouldn't be able to legit check it until you get it to your house. But I've seen a lot of people where they don't even take a photo of the size tag. And if they do, it's very blurry, so it's kind of misleading. Another red flag is I would sometimes check to see if they've sold other listings, if they sold other items. And if I see sold items and and some of the sold items they had were fake and it sold for like $100 and it was something super fake, and chances of them, of course, some people own fake stuff and they own real stuff. But for me, a red flag is if you already sold something fake, you would definitely sell something fake again. You have nothing to lose at that point. So for me, that's a red flag. But that's all I got for red flags, bro. Customer service is definitely the key. Once I sell item to customer, I make sure to take a sticky note and write them a little thank you note and thank them for their purchase. That's what's up. That's always a nice touch. Hoka is a good brand. Absolutely. I love selling Hokas. I don't find them as often as I used to, but Hokas was definitely one of the brands I used to sell all the time. Just recently found your channel, Akil. I just started reselling February 1st, and I hit my 100 sale today. Been watching a lot of your stuff this week to get the matrix learning. Thanks for all the info. That's what's up. Glad I could help, man. 100 sales since February. That's a lot of sales. Congrats to you. How often does Ross drop the clearance sneakers to 150? I don't know if it's once a year or if it's quarterly, but I do know that they have it in the very beginning of the year, like that second or third week in January. I know that's a thing. I don't know if it's going to happen again, but they usually do drop. They have stuff on clearance sometimes all throughout the year. It might not be $1.50, but it might be something super, super cheap, especially if it was a return. They usually, once it's a return, it usually does go on clearance after that. So that's something to look out for. Let's see. I love selling on Grailed. I have yet to sell anything on Grailed, but I'm definitely going to give it a shot, though, because I've been hearing some good stuff about Grailed. Have you thought about doing any type of merch? Yes, I thought a lot about doing merch. I even made a logo. I even hired somebody to do a logo for me to make merch. And now I no longer like the logo, so I'm kind of stuck. I'm back to square one, but I'm gonna get on it. This year, I'm gonna definitely get on it. Dom, what you think we should do for some merch? Yeah, I'm putting you on the spot. As soon as you walked in the door.
T-shirts, tote bags, travel size tags.
Oh, them luggage tags? But I don't know what we're gonna put on it. That's the thing. Yeah, I don't know what to put. If there's anybody that does branding, logos, anything like that, hit me up, send me an email, and we put it in the chat so you guys can see it. And if you do anything like that, graphic design, send me an email because I want to do merch, but so far I had no luck at it. Let's see. Are your friends and family like mines and ask for the family slash homeboy discount since they know you flip? No, they don't. The thing is, I don't even tell a lot of my friends. My friends know what I'm doing, but they don't know about it in great detail. So they don't even ask for stuff like that. They might have watched maybe one or two videos, checked out my Poshmark Closet, but that's about it. Nobody really has asked me anything like that. If anything, my mom would steal the stuff that she liked because when the last time she was here, she took my shoes and then she took some bags, and then I gave her some bags for Christmas, and then she took the other one still. You remember? So that's the only person that just. And then Dom used to steal stuff.
Whoa. I don't steal.
She used to steal stuff, but that's it. Let's see. Do you sell on Goat? No, I haven't sold any items on Goat yet. Let's see. I sold the ASAP Rocky Under Armour on Grail for $410. Wow, $38. That's what's up. I think Hustler Hacks found those shoes too, but I know I didn't find them. I would love to find those. Good flip. What about selling Under Armour sneakers? They seem to be stepping up their game. Yeah, Under Armour sneakers, I would, if it was me, I would only mess with the Rock stuff, like Project Rock and certain Steph Curry shoes. Certain Steph Curry stuff sells, but there's a ton of his stuff that just doesn't have any resale value. But between those two, Steph Curry and Project Rock, those are like the best stuff to flip. I haven't found anything good yet. Like I'm telling you about it, but I haven't found any personally yet. So I'm still trying to find some Project Rock stuff. But let's see. Let me jump in and get back to my last point with why eBay is my favorite platform. Oh yeah, last but certainly not least, the fees. There's no fees for items for shoes that sell over $100. Now I've been saying this in a ton of my videos. And that's the number one thing. That's why I think eBay has really tried to change the game. They've seen StockX, they've seen Go, they've seen Grailed, and they're seeing that, there's a lot of there's competition. There's Poshmark, there's tons of other competition. But by eBay not charging fees for shoes that sell over $100, if you're a sneaker reseller, I don't see why you would want to sell anywhere else. Like eBay has definitely carved a niche. They've drew a line in the sand. They said this is the way to do it. This is the place to do it. So for me, since I've started selling more shoes and I'm getting a ton of shoes, especially brand new in box, even brand new without box from places like Ross and Marshalls, if I can find it for a good deal and sell it for over $100, even if that shoe was say $40 and you sell it for $100, you're making a ton of profit now because that 14%. It's only now the only fees you're having to pay is the PayPal fee, which is like 3 to 4%. So for me, it makes all the sense in the world now to sell shoes on eBay. I even had to check my fee breakdown to make sure that they wasn't charging me. And it's real. Like there is no fees for shoes over $100. So definitely, if you haven't already and you didn't know before, now. So definitely put all your more expensive stuff on eBay. Still list on Poshmark because you never know where it's going to sell. But like I said, eBay is the place to sell sneakers. Let's see. Allen Edmonds always sell within just a few weeks. It always depends on the style for me. Like Allen Edmonds is a really good brand, but there's some styles that are not as popular and they might sit for months for me. But then I have others like some nice derbies or some really nice loafers, and then they might sell the next day. So it always just depends. And then plus I've realized too, since with my pricing, I'm starting to price my items a little higher now. So items they're still selling at a decent rate. They're not selling as fast as they used to, because before I think I was selling items really cheap because I was getting it really cheap. Now I'm spending more money, so I have to, ask a little more. So that's probably why my stuff doesn't sell overnight like it used to. Let's see. Where is a good place to source shoes? All the places I mentioned: Nike outlet, Adidas outlet, Ross, Marshalls, Burlington, DD's Discount. Poshmark is a really good place to source shoes because people just list them really cheap. But it'll only work if you know what shoes to look for. You know what I mean? If you can recognize a good shoe and you can recognize it for a good price, it's a good place to source. But if you're not too familiar with shoes, Poshmark might not be the place, because they sell a lot of fakes on Poshmark as well. So it's kind of dangerous. Let's see. I've been selling on eBay since 2010. I remember when eBay didn't charge a fee for shipping, so people would have the shipping for 100 and the actual product listed for like 10. Wow, that's crazy. I do remember that. That was a few years ago, because I was on Poshmark. I was on eBay in like 2008. So I remember when I used to see that. But now eBay charges for shipping and they charge for the actual item. So that's why a lot of times I offer free shipping, and I just build that cost of shipping into the price. That way they only charge me fees once. Let's see. What age group buys on Poshmark versus eBay? I think Poshmark is definitely more of a younger, more trendier, like hip type of crowd. eBay is a mixture of everybody, but Poshmark is definitely that younger, trendier type of group. Yeah, Poshmark charge too much sometimes. There's no room to play with the price. And not only that, when it comes to Poshmark, you can list the item as high as you want, but you're still going to get offers. And that was one other thing on my list as to why I prefer eBay. You can just not accept offers on eBay and be perfectly fine. On Poshmark, you can say you're not accepting offers, but trust and believe there's still going to be somebody that's going to send you a lowball offer just because. So that's one thing I don't like about it. If I wish they would take that offer feature off for some items, that you can choose if you're accepting offers or not. But I mean, that's, like I said, Poshmark is new, Poshmark is young, so they still have some stuff to work. So if there's any other questions, drop it in the chat. Been on here for about 46 minutes. If y'all didn't already, hit the like button. I ran through my list as to why eBay is my favorite, but just really quick for those that just hopped in, number one reason is because no fees for sneakers 100 plus. Customer service is really, really good now on eBay. They answer the phones really fast. The biggest customer base is on eBay. And of course, with that being said, you can ship internationally on eBay as well. Poshmark is still only domestic. And also with eBay, you don't have to accept offers on items if you don't want to. So that's all I got for today's video. I'm gonna try to put out some more content for you all this week. If you haven't already, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Dom, you got anything you want to say to the people? You want to say anything to the people before we head out? Dom was out and about all day today.
Hey guys, it's
right
me.
Here.
Oh, sorry. It's me, Dami, and the Kill. This is the exit, so mind me, I shouldn't do an introduction.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to come say hey and have a good Saturday. Bye.
All right, y'all.
Time for dinner.
All right, y'all. Peace. Oh my God.
Is it on there?